Hello and welcome to Tactically Sound, an RPG podcast. Welcome to the Yetti Den. My name is Spencer. I have my host, Matt, aka JumbyJumbwa. Matt, how are you doing?
I am solid today. How about you, Spencer?
I'm doing well. There's been a ton of RPG news, so there's a lot to go through. First, I just want to ask you, we were texting a little bit about it. I've been watching some of the extra coverage, but what did you think of the Xbox showcase?
Dude, am I now an Xbox fan? What's going on?
Yeah.
Am I gonna buy an Xbox now? So about me, like I used to be an Xbox fan back in high school. So I graduated in 2011. And I switched over to PlayStation throughout college and ever since then. But now after this showcase, dude, I'm sure you feel the same. I mean, you've always, leaned more towards Microsoft than Xbox, but I'm finding myself on my PC a little bit more these days. I thought it was awesome, dude. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so how do you interpret that as a PlayStation owner, but also a PC owner? When you were watching the showcase, did you feel like you were a part of it as the consumer? Like, were you thinking these games are coming to PC, so this is a showcase for me? Or were you thinking this is a showcase for Game Pass? Or were you thinking this is a showcase for Xbox owners?
Right. If I didn't have a PC, I would feel like I was missing out, especially if I didn't have an Xbox and I was only a PlayStation player. I would feel what I used to feel growing up, where it's like, oh, I don't have that system and I really want that. So I in learning that as a younger age and just growing up, finally making some money, I was like, I need to invest in something, whether it is an Xbox or a PC, so that I don't miss out on some titles that I am for sure a huge fan of. And we see some of them today, and I would have been so bummed, dude. I would have been so absolutely destroyed if I felt like I need to drop like a bunch of money just to even play this game, eventually. So the fact that I already invested in a PC so I can play these games is a huge win for me. And I cannot stress enough for anyone who doesn't own a PC. I really feel like it's the best of both worlds of, being able to have something that you can work on, do your business, but then also game on. So I'm trying to get my friend Philip to get a PC because he feels a little bit that he watched the showcase and he's like, I only have a PlayStation and a Switch. And so he's like, oh, it kind of sucks watching something and feeling like you can't play any of these games. So like, why am I even watching this?
Right. So the fact that there was like, what was it, 3 to 4 Xbox games that went over to PlayStation. It was Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, Pentiment, and am I missing anything else? Was there anything else that was big a part of that drop? Oh, Grounded, I think. So that effect of Xbox going quote unquote third party, that wasn't enough for PlayStation owners to be like, oh, I'm good. I they'll come eventually. Basically, that opened the floodgate a little bit, but maybe not enough for the amount of games that were dropped. It's like, so for instance, everyone's going to be able to play Doom, right? But Starfield had a big update that wasn't there for PlayStation owners. And so, yeah, I mean, you're yet to jump into Starfield. Let's start with Starfield. Okay. I jumped into the update and was just kind of exploring, seeing how the game felt. I haven't finished the main storyline yet. I want to say I'm over 50 hours into the game. But I was curious, does the idea of an expansion get you excited for Starfield? What did you think of that trailer for Shattered Space?
Well, I think because of my experiences with Elder Scrolls and with Skyrim and Skyrim DLC, I got more into Skyrim as DLC dropped and mods dropped. So I think as many mods or DLC opportunities we have for Starfield, it will be good for Starfield. And this actually makes me want to play it a bit more because I feel like now with DLC, they see what players like from the base game, and they're able to listen to that and adjust and pivot based on current reactions, right? So I think the fact that they have like more of these, I imagine like the DLC is more narrowed and focused. It wants to tell a certain story. It wants to create a certain gameplay experience. And I'm excited for those details, right? Because when you have just the generic base game, sometimes things can feel vague or broad because they're trying to play it too safe. So I think this is where we're going to start seeing Starfield shine a little bit more, get more of a develop more of a face for Starfield. And I got a nice spooky horror vibe from this, which I always love from any Bethesda game, to incorporate some of that thrilling horror aspect. So I thought that it kind of had a cool aesthetic with the color scheme, futuristic. I didn't get too much of that cyberpunk or Star Wars. Instead, I got more of, gosh, I can't really say it, but I want to say like a horror.
It's pretty unique.
Game.
It's like, yeah,
a horror space. Like,
darker,
I wanted to say like
maybe
Mass Effect, Dead Spacey. I don't know.
Yeah. So how many expansions do you think what's the sweet spot for like a Bethesda game like Skyrim, right, Oblivion, Fallout 4, right? Like how many expansions do you hope to see for Starfield? Big expansions. Like, are you thinking 2? Are you thinking 4? Where are you thinking?
I'm again, like the more the better. I think eventually I want some of the resources to be working on the new Elder Scrolls instead, and not spending so much time on Starfield. They got to get moving on, kind of like how I felt about Cyberpunk and The Witcher, right? I want them to move on from Cyberpunk and move on to The Witcher. So I think for me, I think 3 is a good number, 2 the minimum. 1 is very underwhelming for me. So if this is all there was, I don't think that there will be enough to keep people playing long term. Like Skyrim. They had multiple DLCs, and so it leaves a lot of room for the player to have that cool role playing experience of what kind of journey do they want to take. And they can make it different on each playthrough. And I think that's what we want for Starfield. I want to play as a bounty hunter. I want to play as a starfighter, right? A kind of maybe underground roguish kind of cyberpunk character, right? I want to be able to play these different role playing experiences and just experience the world through that gameplay loop.
Yeah, I'll read the description for Shattered Space. So they say the home planet of House Varun remains a mystery to the vast majority of the citizens of the settled systems. The religious zealots that make up this clandestine faction are known only by their dangerous reputation. When a distress signal originating from a derelict star station leads you on a path to Varun Kai, you'll begin to uncover the secrets surrounding the followers of the Great Serpent. Explore a new location, take on new enemies, and experience the story of House Varun when Shattered Space launches later this year. So I agree with you. I think the horror element, the intrigue, the mystery, putting a more unique spin, a more specific take on a faction, allowing us to be absorbed by the lore are all things that Bethesda should try to focus on with each of these expansions, making them feel really unique and special and immersive and straying from going too broad, right? Like we don't want too broad. We want really specific storytelling, really specific characters that can flavor and color the world. Right. And anytime that they can really flex their art muscles, I think is always another big component to an expansion, is where you feel like, ooh, that new suit looks really cool, that new planet looks really cool, that new town, that new faction, that armor, that weapon. That's where I think great expansions thrive. And then they paired that with the June update. So the official description is that there are official mod support now for creations, new bounty hunting features and quests, and improvements to melee weapons are the highlights of Starfield's June update. The June update is now available to download on Xbox and PC. Explore the June update and creations further in this deep dive video. So they posted a deep dive video. So they said perhaps the largest new addition in the latest update is the inclusion of creations in Starfield. From subtle tweaks to ambitious adventures, creations brings vast opportunities to a universe-sized sandbox. Discover and play exciting new content from creators and Bethesda Game Studios through the creations menu and explore Starfield like never before, so you can apply to be a part of the verified creator program. And then they added Trackers Alliance through creations. So Bethesda is using this as an additional paid kind of DLC platform for both their own in-house team and verified creators. So this Trackers Alliance quest platform is something that they're going to be using to feed into that. So they say join the Trackers Alliance in a free new mission available as part of the June update. The Starjacker is the first mission in a series of bounty hunting quests. To start your journey with the Trackers Alliance, a mysterious tracker will show up in various settlements across the settled systems. They'll invite you to their headquarters in Aquila City for a trial mission. Track down an elusive individual who is wanted for stealing starships and earn some new gear for completing the job. And then they say that if you're a premium edition owner, you'll receive 1,000 creation credits. So I did that through Game Pass. I'd purchased like the $30 Shattered Space expansion. And then now I guess that includes the creation credits. They also have a scanner bounty system. So continuing the bounty hunting theme introduced with Trackers Alliance, the latest update adds a new bounty scanner system. So I believe this should be free and included outside of the Trackers Alliance. That's how I interpret it. So you can scan citizens of the settled systems as you explore, and you may find some carrying a bounty. From there, you can choose how you confront them. You can try to persuade them into finding a peaceful resolution to the situation, or you can resort to more extreme methods. And then they add that they included melee weapon improvements and ammunition crafting. So that's going to be there. And then moving on to, well, actually, before we go into this, have you ever purchased Creation Club content before? Like, okay, what have you purchased
for Skyrim? And I bought, I believe it was an armor set and possibly like a survival kit, because I was really interested in seeing those mechanics and seeing how that affected the gameplay. I think it's cool. I think it's cool that there's more, but at the end of the day, like my best experiences with anything like creation is, on being on PC downloading Nexus mods, right? I paid for that too, and I've had a better experience like with that. So I'm glad it's there, right? It makes it easy if you don't have a PC, right? And you want to experience something that is unique and different than what you're gonna get on Nexus, I guess. Maybe it's a little bit more vanilla friendly, right? So if that's what you're going for,
yeah, like will it break your achievements? I've heard people say that it still breaks your achievements, which is a bummer. So hopefully they fix that, because it's like you would assume that if you're paying for something by Bethesda,
I did not know that. That sucks.
Yeah, so I'm curious. Don't quote me on that, but I've been reading people saying like, "Hey, why is this thing breaking my achievement still?" So look into that. So let's talk about Fallout 76. They announced a big launch. Was this enticing to you to jump into Fallout 76 at all? Would you ever consider hopping into Fallout 76? And what do you do post TV show to get into the Fallout mood if you wanted to? Like, have you felt compelled to get back into Fallout? And is Fallout 76 that path forward for you?
The TV show got me into trying Fallout 4 again, because I've always struggled with Fallout 4. And I always went back to play New Vegas or Fallout 3. But the TV show, I felt like had a lot of references to 4. So I wanted to go in and play that, and I enjoyed it. I didn't end up beating it because there's something about 4 that doesn't feel as gripping as other Fallout campaigns. So I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to go back in there and finish that one. In regards to 76, I remember when it first came out, super buggy. I was thinking I would rather play ESO online. Why would I play Fallout 76? Apparently, it's gotten much better though, right? Over the years, and it's decent. I'm willing to check it out, but honestly, this trailer just made me think like, oh, I guess like there's more players than I think there are, and it's growing still. So that it made me feel was it might be worth checking out, especially if I'm gonna try it with you or something, right? We're gonna do an episode where we're gonna talk about Fallout 76. I'm willing to try it. There's not so much of a anti 76er in me anymore.
Yeah, I've been same as you, like watching people play it and describe their stories and describe the map. And I'm like, okay, it sounds like it's almost about ready. So maybe I'll hop in if I do get a chance, maybe the next month or so, to just try it out and then report back and let you know what I think. Diablo 4. So we've been texting about this. We're trying to get connected.
Yeah.
I've been loving Diablo 4. I am so addicted to it, and Mo loves watching me play it. We both are so enamored by it. So I created my first seasonal character, and
nice.
so this is all new to me. Like the Diablo post game ecosystem is very new for me. So I started with a sorceress on my main playthrough, and I was cleaning up the map there and not making a ton of progress at like level 54 on normal difficulty. And then when I started the seasonal character, I like bumped it up a difficulty, and I'm seeing like my character level up. Like I think my new character is already level 20.
Wow.
So it's cool to see that kind of progression and to fight for every battle and all that, and to just explore other classes. What do you think of the expansion announcement? It was just a CGI trailer, but Blizzard makes incredible CGI trailers.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the storytelling in it, and what are your current thoughts on Diablo?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting and cool. I kind of walked away from that one not really knowing what's going to happen with this expansion. And to be honest, Spencer, I'm kind of behind with all the expansions. I'm still working on my first run through the game. I told you that my buddy told me to make a new character for the season, and he quickly got me up to over level 50 so that the next time we play, sick. We can go through some harder stuff. And that's fun, but like I do have my other character that needs to progress through tier 1 still and just beat the campaign. And then I want to, because like I don't know anything about the campaign story really, other than the intro. So I need to get into it. And then I'm so excited to play with you eventually. So we're going to have more to talk about it for sure in the future. As of now, I just think the trailer's cool, and I'm happy to still be into Diablo 4.
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about like what is the current season, because the way I like finished the game and I saw that the season was happening, and I was like kind of accidentally found my way into it. So it's called Loot Reborn. This is a current season. So they say you can now parse items faster. So improved clarity, spend more time slaying and less time sorting with the simplified stat system that makes items easier to parse through. Craft your gear through choice, so temper to perfection. The days of hunting for the perfect item drop are gone. Develop your gear through tempering and masterworking, which I've had access, I think, to most of this. I just think the difference of like going from tier 1 to tier 2 changes a lot of components. And then improved codex of power. So store and imprint your enchantments directly from the Codex of Power with no need for aspect crystals. And then new greater affixes. So the stars align on rare item drops to grant you greater affixes. Fight back the forces of hell. So the armies of hell are expanding their reach across the world of Sanctuary. New threat system, enemies, Blood Maiden, boss, and events. Join the Iron Wolves in this season's activities and fight to beat back the tides of hell, earning you reputation and rewards. The journey never ends. Chase down new challenges and reach new pinnacles. So craft ultra powerful weapons. Master the forge. Brave the darkness of the pit to earn rare materials. Forge your weapons, these precious metals, to improve your gear stats, creating mighty weapons fit for a hero, and then battle new uber bosses, face the greatest challenge yet. And then they have free rewards. So I've been collecting some of these as well. And then, of course, you could get like a premium battle pass if you want to do that as well. But yeah, it's been really fun. Like I've enjoyed... I haven't paid for anything, so I've enjoyed just like whatever weapons and skins there are without
What's
the
your
premium
new
battle
class?
pass.
What's your new class you're working on?
Barbarian.
Okay. And
dude, it is sick.
Nice.
Go.
How are you looking up your builds for that? Do you follow a build guide or do you just experiment with what you like?
Just free ball it.
Nice.
Just been free balling it.
Nice.
Yeah. Because I for me, the way my brain works is if I can like figure it out on my own, I'll try that unless I notice that I'm not having fun. Like if I'm not having fun anymore and there's still like a part of me that's like, man, I really got to figure that out. I want to know, then I will. And then once I've like experienced it the first time through, then I start to like look up guides or, I even like, for linear games, my brain struggles way more. Weirdly, like God of War 2018, I'll have like a YouTube video loaded up and I'll just like track along. I won't watch it, but when I do get stuck, I love being able, like all I have to do is press play because I'm like already tracked along with where I am.
Nice.
But games like this, I rarely get lost or confused, and so for me, I'm just playing around with like the main base skills that you start with and just like loading those all up and then being like, let's just figure out what's the most fun to play with. Right. And then
I love that.
I'll button map because I play on a controller on the Xbox. So I'll like button map to like whatever my favorite one is gets A. And then like my next favorite, I think I put on like X. And then I use the triggers for like more powerful attacks that are recharging. And
are you
then,
able to respec in this game? Like say you didn't like your skills, you can change those.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, and
that's
I think
huge.
on my sorceress, and again, I'm not a big Diablo player. I'm fascinated by it, and I want to go back. But for me, on the sorceress, I have like $1 million of cash that I can like. If it's like if I need a respec, it's like, oh, no problem. Like if I need like more slots, like one thing that I love playing with is the wardrobe. You could create like slots and have all these outfits ready to go. That's cool. So like it'll be like, oh, $20,000 for a new slot. I'm like, well, yeah, take my money. I love feeling that kind of power, you know, in the world where it's just like, you know,
I can pay for it.
In-game currency, not real money, but like I'll do that, anything like that. So the wardrobe's fun, and respecking every once in a while when I feel like, oh, you know, I'm seeing a lot of this armor and I'm seeing these affixes that would do that. Like, so I'll tailor the build as I go. But I'm sure once I get up to like hardcore and like or whatever it's called, tier 3, I don't know how many tiers there are. As I get higher up, I think I'll start using friends' knowledge. I like going to friends first before I'm like watching YouTube videos and all that. Like for me, it doesn't break immersion to get tips from friends, you know, because like that feels like we're playing a D&D campaign together and we're figuring it out, you know. So like if a friend is like crazy good at Diablo and we're at a party or something, it's like, oh, I'll ask them tons of questions and then go back. But so far Diablo has been holding my attention.
That's awesome.
Really, really fun game. Really recommend it if you like that type of thing. Let's move on to Doom the Dark Ages. Ooh. What did you think of Doom the Dark Ages?
I didn't know I liked shields so much, Spencer. This shield has like a chainsaw around it, and it works sort of like God of War 2018, the hammer, like Thor's hammer. So I'm really excited about that. I think I saw a flail in there too, kind of crazy. I think this is a Doom made for me because it seems like it's leaning on some more brutal melee combat, incorporating the gunplay that we loved and the gore that we loved from the other titles. So this game is definitely a game I'm going to pick up whenever it drops.
Right. 2025, yeah, there's Mecha Dragon. Yeah, I think this game's gonna be sick. I mean, I don't think we have to talk about it too much because it's so on the nose for both of us.
Right.
It gives me Quake vibes. It gives me Hexen vibes. It gives me Doom vibes. It looks kind of like an open world kind of in a way, and I've heard that they're really stretching out the sandbox. So I'm excited. I also like their Hugo Martin, the game director, was talking about how you're back on the ground. So he was saying Doom 2016 is about what did he say? Oh, I'm forgetting it now. But like basically running, and I want to say dodging, or it was like running and shooting, and then Doom Eternal was flying and shooting, and this one is now basically bearing through and like plowing through the enemies, like slowly. So you're more of a knight now. You're not running so much as you are just like taking the hits and going in a more
reminding me of Vermintide, that series.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Very gory, first person. And then the Dark Age kind of medieval inspired theme that they're going with. I get that kind of game. I haven't really played too much of those though, so I don't know how good of a comparison that is.
Right. A couple quick mentions. Avowed. This is by Obsidian. If you've played the Outer Worlds, it looks pretty similar in gameplay. Did this catch your eye at all? Were you interested in Avowed?
So I was super interested in Avowed with the very first teaser trailer because I thought this was going to be like Skyrim or an Elder Scrolls kind of game. And it is sort of, but now they've gone more with like, there's this dream scourge. So it's creating like some ultra fantastical environments and enemies to fight. And then, also with like build abilities and spell casting. And so this one I'm super interested in. It could be a day one buy for me or Game Pass. But I'm a little bit worrisome in the less dark direction. When anything is less dark and gritty to me, it's almost like it has to tap into my nostalgia a bit of when I was a kid so I can feel justified in liking it. Because as an adult, it's sometimes very hard to get back into liking a new title that is very kid friendly and safe. And I got with the whole dream idea, dream scourge. It felt a little bit more like let's get a younger audience in here, which is not bad, but I think this has a lot of potential to still be a really good, fun game because it does look different, and I do think people miss that whole first person sword play, sword and shield. And spell casting gameplay first person. So I'm excited to see what this one turns into, see more gameplay, and I want to experience it for myself too. So I think it's coming to Game Pass. I'll probably check it out there for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I'll definitely play it, and probably I'll play it with Mo because she really liked the Outer Worlds. I think that what they do a good job of, at least with the Outer Worlds formula, is creating less of a traditional sandbox RPG like Bethesda, and more like a blend of like you're watching a really great animated series while making choices and still having gameplay elements, but it really is like watching the story unfold. and feeling like your choices are being represented. You know, like even when I was just playing Starfield today to check in, I was talking to a criminal and the options were so limiting where it was like, wow, I can't believe you knew that. Or how did you come up with this genius plan? And like, oh, I guess you betrayed me. And I was looking for an answer that was less kind of blowing smoke up his ass. Like I wanted to say something like, oh, I'm not impressed. And it just wasn't there. And I would avoid the option as many as I can. And then it's at the very end, to finish the conversation, it's like you still have to like compliment this character that you don't feel like complimenting. So if that type of thing frustrates you in open world RPG, then you'll love Obsidian, because like right here, I'll read out 6 options. If you're trying to flatter me, it's working. And then another one is, it's true, you should touch my abdominal muscles, they ripple. And then another, and there's like comedic, like that's what I love about Obsidian. And that's why Mo loves to watch it, because it's funny to like stare at all the options and just like discuss, like, what should we choose? They have number 3, you said something about the godless, who are they? So I love that right there. Like you could just ignore the flirting. Like you don't have to be silly if you don't want to. Right. Another one is like, what are you suggesting? Can we focus? What do you want? And then another one is, are you flirting with me? So I feel like there is choice. This character is flirtatious, and there's 6 options in this screenshot to choose how you want to tell your version of the story. Much better, like Larian Studios with Baldur's Gate 3. And this is what I like to see from these types of RPGs, because this is where you can have a lot of fun with multiple replays and really get the bang out of your buck for buying that game, right? This is definitely one I wrote down. I wrote down a list of like my top. What is it? Yeah, give us your list real quick. Oh, okay. Let's do that. So I kind of have 9, but the ninth one is a little bit like maybe not. The first one I wrote down was Expedition 33. I absolutely thought that one was super cool because of turn-based, and it made me kind of think like, what if Final Fantasy VII, because the original was turn-based, right? What if they went that direction instead? Would I have liked that more? And part of me was thinking yes, because that looked super cool. It looked like they took some of the cool animations that we see in games like Persona, and ramped it up to like a Final Fantasy VII remake level, you know? And all these worlds that they're going in with this whole idea of like defeating this painter or whatever, like it's really bizarre, and I haven't heard anything like this. So I'm really hopeful for this game, because if this game does well, we might see more cool strategy turn-based kind of games, and even on that AAA level, which is pretty interesting to me. We already mentioned Doom, Dark Ages. We mentioned Avowed. The other one, this is probably I'm most excited for this one. And I mentioned it to you already. Gears of War, E-Day, dude. Oh. Dude. Since the first Gears of War, they've been talking about E-Day in the stories, and it's just so wild to finally hear that we're going to get a game about E-Day. It kind of reminds me of like when we talk about Fallout and like, the battle in Alaska and, just some of those wars that they were having that led up to Fallout. It just reminds me of like finally getting access to that lore, right? That history. And so, we're history buffs and lore buffs. This like tickles my fancy. I'm so excited for that one. Are you excited for Gears, or have you played any of the original? When I first got my PC laptop in 2022, because the last time I had PC was probably pre-2010. So I tried Gears of War on Game Pass, and I loved it. I thought it was so cool. I didn't finish the first one. I keep meaning to go back and play the series because I really want to play Gears Tactics. So I'm excited to play through the series. Hopefully, I feel like I would be able to play through it before E-Day comes out. Because I think we have another year or two.
The lore is so sick, though. Like, the story and just what happened. It does remind you of Fallout. Like, this is a post-apocalyptic world. What happened, right? So that's on my top of my list. Another one I'm very curious about, because I played the first three when I was a kid, was Fable. And so
it's another series I need to go back and play.
Yeah, you got to try it, because you're going to see a little bit more of those roots of where, we get BioWare with Mass Effect, and Obsidian with Outer Worlds, Bethesda. All these games like Fable share that kind of Paragon. What's the other one? I'm thinking more BioWare right now.
Renegade? Is it Renegade in Paragon?
Yeah, or it chooses to be good or evil, and then your character like changes based off that, like morphs, evolves. It's really fun. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the new one and the direction. I'm still skeptical if it's going to be good, because the third one was lacking. It was funny, and I like the comedy a lot from it. So we'll see. It could be just a fun game to play. It looks interesting, the third person perspective. Kind of like it almost looks like, I guess, Gears of War, God of War a bit, kind of close up third person, but also what's that game that just came out? Hellblade.
Hellblade, right, Senua's Sacrifice, I think.
It adds more of a intimate, cinematic, thrilling kind of camera. So I'm excited to see how that's going to translate to Fable, because Fable was always like kind of this quirky fantasy game, where you can do silly things and could be a little raunchy at times, right? So I'm excited to see that one. I'm going to go through these last couple ones kind of quick. Indiana Jones. I'm curious to see if that's going to be good. Huge Indiana Jones fan. I thought it was interesting, though, how in that trailer, how that whole cutscene when they're up in the ship was just a whole cutscene. There wasn't any action there. So I'm curious how the action is going to incorporate into like this story, where they definitely seem like they're going to be leaning on cutscenes, because it's like based off of a movie like Indiana Jones. I'm for a cozy game. If you guys are into cozy games, I'm excited for Winter Burrow. This is the game about a city mouse trying to make a life out in the countryside and reclaim an old hearth, right? An old little stump or tree. So I'm excited to kind of do some Animal Crossing in that kind of cute storybook mouse land. And I think that would be a fun one to play with the wifey. So excited about that. Did you see this one that looked a little bit more like a Fallout-y kind of game called Atomfall? What did you think about that?
Yeah, I thought it looked sick. I am so down for more games like that. So I love British lore and fairy tales, and I'm pretty sure they're fusing that with kind of like a Stalker, Metro, Fallout kind of vibe. Right. So I thought that was really cool, because I don't think Bethesda will ever do Fallout in another country beside the US. So I think, I think it looks cool. So I'm curious to see more.
Yeah, let's follow that one. That could be interesting. And to also even compare and contrast the worlds, the universes, the more we learn about that and the direction they go. And then my last one that I wrote a question mark in, because you know how much I love Ghost of Tsushima, is Assassin's Creed Shadows. I don't know how I feel about this one. One moment I'm thinking the combat looks sick. It's going to be nice to get back into Japan. And then on the other hand, I'm just feeling like I've been so underwhelmed by all of the Assassin's Creeds that have recently come out and their stories. Ghost of Tsushima had a decent story and a beautiful world to explore. It wasn't too overfilled as well, like you get from an Assassin's Creed game. So for me, like, it looks really cool. Some of the combat is cool. It normally is in an Assassin's Creed game, but where you lose me in every single game, Ubisoft, is overstuffing your game with a bunch of crap that I don't need to do to enjoy my time with the world. And then on top of that, like, because there's so much filler, I'm losing the pace of the story. It feels like a slow burn when I don't want one, right? It makes you feel like walking out of the theater because it's that slow. And sure, you could probably adjust the way you play the game, but gosh, I don't know about you, but when I play a game, I like to kind of explore, do some side quests, kind of get a sense of the map or the location I'm in, seeing what the developers want me to learn or gain from this area for my character, and even as a player, and then I want to move on. And so if you're going to have too much stuff, I'm going to be leaving this area thinking I'm missing out. And there's so much in this game that I don't want to start over and do a whole new replay of this game. It's going to be years before I do that. So it's very frustrating to see these kind of games sometimes because they do look cool, but there's so much else that's wrong with it that needs to change. And that's not, to me, what made it Assassin's Creed good in the beginning. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on Assassin's Creed, why I put it as a question mark, but I'm still interested in seeing how it comes out. So we'll see.
Yeah, let me know. I don't have a ton of experience with this Assassin's Creed. I've played Black Flag and I really liked it.
That was like the last good one, in my opinion.
I think I played a little bit of Origins, and I enjoyed it, but to me, it's a game that one day I'll go back and maybe play, but there's just so many other games that are on my list that are more RPG centric, or the story hooks me in a little bit more. But yeah, I think these games will be good. For me, I like waiting for them to like be fleshed out. Like Valhalla is on Game Pass. It's like, that's one I might check out one day. But yeah, I don't know if I'll be there like day one for this. But I'll definitely keep an eye on what people think. For me, this franchise falls in between like an action title and an RPG, and so that's kind of hard for my brain to figure out what mood I'm supposed to be in. Right. So yeah, I'm curious to see what people end up thinking of the game. Right. But yeah, that's our episode for today. We just wanted to do a quick check-in. Next week, we are beginning our Oblivion coverage, which will be exciting. So if you guys have not played Oblivion and you want to follow along, do that. If you've already played it, then you might like it even more because you'll see our take as pretty much newcomers to the game. Right. And so that'll be fun. I have a couple of videos that I want to plan along the way that are kind of shorter to like introduce people to the different modules we're putting in for our discussion, you know. So if you guys are like curious, there will be those videos that will be coming out. You'll see us on Shorts. So you'll have lots of ways to interact, but I think it's going to be a fun journey, and hopefully we'll get an Oblivion remaster remake soon, and maybe Matt and I will be able to finish Oblivion before that even happens, which would be cool. So Matt, are you excited to hop into Oblivion?
Dude, I am excited to see it, especially more from a comparative and analytical way. Just as a Bethesda fan, I'm excited to see it. I don't have those expectations that it's going to be better combat than anything I've experienced, but you know, I'm nostalgic for it. I'm excited to see how it's going to go.
Good. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you like RPGs, subscribe. And if you like retro gaming content, subscribe. Also, check out Matt's channel at JumbyJumbwa, JumbyJumbwa. And yeah, we will see you guys next week. And yeah, thanks again. Later. Peace. Bye.